guys, welcome to Love What Luck. It's the first episode in spring. We're officially in April. The weather might not be, springing yet, but it still feels like spring. Like April is coming and I feel like it's the start of the change, The nights are longer. No, the days are longer because it gets later. Oh my God. Do you know, the days are longer because it gets lighter later. That is hard to say on a hangover. Do you know what? Is mixing words up a symptom of ADHD? Because side note, I've been told 3 times this weekend by people I know and also by complete strangers online that I've got ADHD. And now everything I do, there is a little bit out of the ordinary. I'm like, is that ADHD? Who knows? Anyway, the point is that it's spring, it's April, and actually as I'm recording this, the sun is out, even though it's about -5 degrees it feels. At least the sun's out, and with it being spring, I thought, it's probably time to mix up the formatting of Love What Luck. I like to keep it fresh here, I like to try out new things, so format of these episodes from now on is going to be a story. I love a love story. I share them on my Instagram. I'm at Sadie Maltby if you don't already follow me. I share them on my Instagram and my TikTok and everywhere else all the time. And then I used to do them on an episode and then I stopped. I don't really know why. But I'm bringing them back because I think it's nice to have a little story and to talk about it. So I'm going to do that. Obviously a little bit chat about myself because that's what I live for, and that's kind of the reason I have a podcast, because I love chatting to you all. So we'll do a bit of that, and then I thought I would bring in the thought of the week. So it's not like crazy different to before, because obviously the thought of the week is going to be related to dating, or this week is related to sex. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know that's going to be the little mixer. Okay, so I'm going to go straight in with a story I got this week. As always, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a sad one, I'm not going to lie. But let's just go straight into it. I was with my husband for 12 years, married for 8. We have 2 beautiful boys, and I raised his daughter from a previous relationship. He cheated on me in 2016 when I was pregnant with my first son. Can I just say, cheating on somebody when they are pregnant, for me, is the ultimate shitty thing you can do to somebody. Like, there's honestly not much worse you can do to somebody than that. When I see stuff like that, it actually makes me angry. Like, how can you do that when somebody is carrying you a child? Like, the audacity on him to do that to somebody who is carrying a part of him and is carrying something that's going to be part of his life forever, and he's disrespecting it like that. Oh my God, absolute piece of shit. Anyway, this is even worse. She says, but I didn't find out until I was pregnant with my second son in 2019. I'm sorry, the turmoil of that, because obviously finding out something happened 3 years ago is still going to feel very fresh. But then I think, how can you, obviously you'd still be angry, but I think you're never going to have the same reaction as you would if you found out at the time. And I think it's very easy for them to be like, yeah, but that was 3 years ago and remember what it was like then and we weren't doing this. And I think you'd probably be a bit like jaded, your memory and stuff would be a bit like, oh, okay. I think it's easier to forgive, I think is what I'm getting at. To find out 3 years later, I think is so shocking and so hard because you're not experiencing it in real time. I think it's a really, really difficult situation, like, especially if you're really happy then. Like, say you weren't in a good place then and your partner cheated, but you're in a really good place now when you found out. Like, how do you navigate that? That shit is hard. What I would also find really hard is, I said before, like, how I hate the feeling of being angry and I find it really takes over my body. Imagine the level of anger you'd feel, but then, like, the stress of not being able to feel angry because you're pregnant. She's still pregnant. So he cheated on her when she was pregnant the first time, and then she finds out as she's pregnant for the second time. That for me would send me into a spin, because I'd be like so afraid of affecting the baby. Like, you always hear stuff about, you know, people being really stressed and going through like extreme things and then miscarrying. Like, it's absolutely tragic, so I can't even imagine that. Because I was heavily pregnant, I was too scared to leave. Fair enough. He did the usual, begged me to stay, promised it was a one-off, but over the years I found out about more and more. He would always lie and gaslight me, saying it was just messaging or only happened once, but the truth would come out gradually over the following weeks. Well, thank God, can I just say, because Lord knows it's easy to believe your partner, especially when you're in a vulnerable position and you're pregnant. So thank God the truth did come out and you actually did know where you were standing, not listening to his lies and his shit over and over again. In September, after a day at Disneyland with my sons, I had a gut feeling he was doing it again, as he kept asking what time I would be out of the house on a Sunday. Okay, does that mean he's cheating on her in the house? I can only hope no, but would I be surprised given the history of this guy? No. I checked his phone whilst he was swimming and found out he had been seeing a woman for months. This is where it gets interesting. They had a profile on a swingers site. That for me changes everything. The shock factor comes in. Not only are you cheating on me with like maybe one person, you're going and sleeping with multiple people and you're living a whole different life that I have no clue about. My first question would be like, hun, can't you tell me? Did you not think I might want to get involved? Don't be so quick to write your partner off. That's the advice I'm going to say to you. Anybody out there that thinks they've lived their life with a partner for 10 years, 5 years, wherever, and they want to get into something different, what makes you think that your partner would rather you go and do that with somebody else than come and be honest and be like, look, actually this is what I want to do? The only reason you're not doing that is because you're frightened. You're frightened of them, you know, kicking off and finding it hard. Look, it might backfire, I'm not saying that every partner that goes to the girlfriend or boyfriend, wherever, and says, look, I want to start swinging. I'm not saying that conversation's going to go well for everyone, but I'm pretty sure I can speak for most people and say they would rather that and that conversation end really badly than their partner do it behind their backs and then they find out. Because let me tell you, you're not getting them to a swingers club then. Like, that is so much worse. I'd rather take the risk. Just take the risk if you want to do it. You're already risking much more by lying about it and doing it behind your partner's back, you know. 3 days ago, I received an anonymous letter in the post from someone who says they knew me. Can I just say the fear of that? Red flag galore. I would probably pull my pants there and then if I had an anonymous letter through my door. I'd be on the phone to the estate agents, get this flat up for sale, I'm being watched and hunted and I can never leave. My God, who does that? Send a DM, hun. It's 21st century. They didn't know my partner and I had split up and wanted to tell me about his swinging experiences. There was a link to their swingers profile. This man had made a profile with his new, would you call her a partner? I don't know, his new whatever. The man had made a profile. Hopefully after they'd split up, because if he did that when they were together, there is literally no shame in what you're doing. Like, to actually make a profile. That's like what I hear about when people say they found out their partner was cheating because it's like their friends from on a dating app. Like, come on, make smarter decisions if you're gonna cheat. Do you know what I mean? There was a link to the swingers profile and photos and videos showing him having unprotected sex, a speciality they listed. Oh, that would have cut me like a dagger. That would have killed me off. Not only is your man cheating, but he's listing that unprotected sex is a speciality and it's what he's into and that's what he wants. Oh my God, you sick, 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 gonorrhea riddled person. Oh, vile, absolutely vile. Honestly, you know, there's certain things that like tick you off. That is one of them, because how dare you put me and my vagina and my sexual organs in danger to go and fulfill out you a fantasy that you haven't even asked me to be part of. I'm sorry, my ego could never. It absolutely could never, you sick, sick person. Sorry, I feel like I'm going way off on a tangent here at every sentence. Videos showing him having unprotected sex with men and women over the years, and reviews of each experience. I'm sorry, there is a world that I don't know about. Reviews. Man was reviewing every experience he had. Is this still behind his partner's back? I don't know anymore. I don't know if this is since they've broken up or not. I don't know, but still, can I say this is only like weeks, I think, after they split up, so obviously the pain is very much still there, but I haven't confirmed whether he was leaving these reviews whilst he was still with his partner or not. But still, reviews. I've never heard of that, apart from there was a show I watched on Netflix called something with a B, Bruna, I think, and it was basically, I think it's a true story about a prostitute in Brazil, and she started off kind of being like a high-end escort type, and she was going out with all these guys and then leaving reviews after, and then obviously the guys wanted to sleep with her because they wanted a really good review, so she was making like baybucks. She was stacking that paper. She really turned into a hustle business. But then she got into drugs, and then she ended up like declining fast and like having sex with people for £5 or whatever, so it was actually quite sad. But yeah, that's what she did. I saw he'd even done this on my birthday one year, so he was leaving the reviews and doing that whilst he was with her on her birthday. I just have to ask the question here, why didn't he break up with her? Because if you've living that much of a lie, how is that even nice on you? I get that, you know, some people would say like obviously the forbidden thing, there's a bit of excitement there, I get that. But if you're doing that for a long time, I feel like if you're having so much happiness elsewhere, by the time you come home, are you not sad? Like I would be. I get the first couple of times is maybe a bit exciting. Bear in mind, this guy's obviously got no morals, so we're not talking like a normal person like coming back and feeling guilty. He obviously had no guilt. But so trying to get into his head of being like somebody very selfish, you would have thought that it would have made him so unhappy, like living the double life and lying. Like, why didn't you just leave? Like, man up. I don't know if that's a politically correct term we should use anymore. Sorry, I will come back with a better one. But basically, have some courage and just break up or have an honest conversation. Like, you've known this woman 12 years. You've been with her 12 years. You probably have done everything in front of each other. You've had kids together. Like, you're honest with each other about lots of stuff. Like, what are you doing? It's just, oh, disgusting. She says, I feel so humiliated and hurt. How could he risk my health like that? Exactly. How do I move forward? How did I not know I was married to someone so damaged and depraved? I don't know how to move forward, but I'm trying. She also says, thanks for the stories on your page. They make me feel less alone, which I thought was really sweet. But look, the first thing you have to know is, how could you ever know? That isn't even a question you should be asking. Like, how did I not know? You didn't know because this man is so good at hiding his feelings and his actions. How would you ever know that? Nobody would ever know. Absolutely nobody. The people that he slept with wouldn't have known he lived this whole different life, I'm sure. So, you know, that's really nothing you can ever question. I think it's natural, obviously, you'd be questioning yourself, like, how didn't I know? But, my God, the other thing is, I guarantee he hasn't lived his whole life like this. So I could be wrong, but I don't think this is something that has gone on for the whole 12 years. I think this is something that's come about where he's probably always had the fantasy for it, which is fine. Lots of people have fantasies about stuff that they never want to even act out, or they tell their partners and it's a bit of a turn on, but you know, they're never actually going to do it. But I think maybe it just like kind of grew and snowballed, and then this is probably quite a new thing, and by new that could be over 3 years or whatever, but I think it's probably something that's come on a bit later, and he's just been, I don't know, fed up of not doing it and he's just gone out and done it. But like, as I said, just be honest. All you've got to think is, this is where I would think, on a good day in that situation. Now, when I say on a good day, I know for sure I would be in hell, obviously. I feel sick. I can't even imagine it, because you've got to remember, she's gone through 2 shocks. She's gone through a cheating when pregnant, twice really, because she found out as she was pregnant the second time. She's gone through another cheating, and then she's gone through the whole swinging thing. So like, there's so many different levels of shock. I would like to think maybe it got easier as each one was coming out. I don't know. But I think on a good day, what I'd think to myself, and this, it sounds cliche, but you really, really have to believe it, is, okay, this has obviously happened for a reason. And we might not know that reason yet, but if you know in the future, it will kind of make sense. Or maybe it won't make sense, but you two will obviously be apart, and I guarantee you, you'll be happier whether that's alone, with somebody else. Like, when all this stuff dies down, eventually you're going to feel better, of course you are. Like, nothing is ever forever. Like, time makes everything better. Eventually something's going to happen and you're going to be like, of course I'm not meant to be with him. You're obviously not meant to be with him because all this has happened. So I think that's what I just keep telling myself is, you know, someday in the future, whether that's 6 months, 6 years, however long, I'm going to understand why this has happened and I'm going to be happier. And you just have to live with that hope, I think, every single day. Hope is the one thing, you know, it's the one feeling that I honestly think carries us through life. This might sound a bit deep, but hope is the only thing, right? I was listening to a story the other day and they were on about how women that get like sexually assaulted and raped, they must have the thought in their head, obviously I'm not speaking for everyone going through a situation, but they obviously have the thought in their head, like, do I try and fight back this person but probably lose and then may die, or do I, you know, try and take it and then hope to live? And that hope is what gets people through like the darkest of times. It gets you through everything by just having a glimmer of hope. I honestly think it's the only way people carry on and come back from traumatic situations. And it's amazing because it does always work, you know, the hope does always help you in these situations. So you've just got to keep having hope, having faith, and just take each day as it comes. And also, don't be harsh on yourself. I say this to my friends all the time, and I actually tell myself, like, whatever feeling you feel, you have to just allow it. And I don't know if this is from like my therapy work or stuff I read, but basically it says that every emotion you have to let it come without judgment. You can't judge yourself for it. You can't call yourself pathetic for, you know, crying over it. Or like, one thing that I always talk bad about myself is when I get angry, like I've mentioned before, because I hate it so much. I'll talk down on myself when I feel angry. But really what you have to do is just allow every emotion to come without judgment. Be kind to yourself. Know that you haven't done anything wrong and you couldn't have changed the situation. And just living with hope every day. So yeah, that's it guys. That's a story, and what a story. Come and let me know your thoughts. What would you do in that situation? Let's share some answers. Let's get a chat together. I'm on Instagram. I'm at Sadie Maltby. The podcast Insta is at Love.Luck. And guys, please come and follow me and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all you have to do is hit the follow button. You would have seen I shared that I've reached just over 500 followers now on Spotify, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it. Obviously I've got big goals, so every little follow helps. And please leave me a review. 5 stars is obviously ideal. I will accept 4. Any less than that, you know what, if you feel like it, just do it. There's always room for improvement for me. Now, I got told by my friend the other day that leaving a review was really difficult for her. So I always thought on Spotify, you literally just click on the podcast. I'm actually going to do it live. So okay, I'm gonna pull up the Jay Shetty podcast. You basically go click on the podcast, follow comes up straight away on Spotify. That's easy. I mean, hun, if she's listening, what she did say after, I don't think she updated her app, and it was very, very difficult for her to leave a review, so I'm very grateful she did and I appreciate it. So if it's not easy, you need to upgrade your Spotify app, because usually you see the podcast and then they have the review right underneath the write-up, like 4.9 stars, whatever, and then you click it and then you give a review, you click the 5 stars, it literally takes a second. It takes 1 single second, if that, and then you click submit. That's it, you're done. But you do have to have the most up-to-date Spotify app, because my friend didn't and it was really hard for her. So yeah, that's it, that's my plug. Everything is linked, so I've made it extra easy for you. But yeah, please come and follow me on wherever you get your podcasts, because it's a huge help for me and I massively appreciate it. So yeah, it's spring and I've done that thing where I've put out a decoration with a rabbit on and it's changed my whole mood. I feel like I've fully redecorated my whole flat. I've pulled out that rabbit, I've taken one candle away and I've pulled out a rabbit decoration and I'm like, I've trimmed up for Easter. It's Easter magic. And then my nephews made me these little like clay rabbits last year. I've put 2 of those out in places that Matt probably won't even notice, but to me I'm like, oh my god, it's spring, absolutely love it. And I got the rabbit decoration from New Orleans, so it's extra special for me. I feel like when I go away, I love to get a souvenir, and as I've got older it's kind of changed from like a standard souvenir to basically anything from that place, because then when I look at it I'm like, oh yeah, I got that from New Orleans. Although as much as I love New Orleans, I don't think I've shared with you guys that we actually all had a sickness bug, and the morning I went shopping and I bought that rabbit decoration, I'm actually going to show it to the people on YouTube because I love it. Oh, that's a close angle. So cute. Yeah, I put a picture of it on my Instagram as well, as you do, because I love it. Oh my god, I've actually realised it's from TJ Maxx. So, you know what, they might actually have it in TK Maxx in this country, if you're listening in the UK. Anyway, the morning I got this decoration was the start of my sickness bug. So as we were travelling, right, I travelled with 2 of my friends. On the plane on the way there, friend 1 went down. She was sick, I couldn't really understand it, must have been something she'd eaten on the plane. How sad for you, that's unfortunate. She was day 1. Day 2, my second friend started to get sick, and that's when the alarm was raised. Caution was flying around my head. I thought, uh-oh, this isn't something she's eaten, this is airborne. We're all in the same room. Like, if she's caught it, I'm gonna be next. And I fought it for a day, and then on the last day I went shopping, I picked up the rabbit decoration, and then we went and had some food. And I remember eating the food and thinking, that's not going down very well. I feel a bit sick, and thinking, don't do this, like this is not gonna happen on my last day in New Orleans, like it's not gonna happen. Obviously it happened. I was sick to the point where on the last night we went out to the parade, and like right before it started I had to go into a casino to vomit, and I took it like a trooper though, to be fair. Now, without blowing my own trumpet, I was like, this sickness bug will not ruin my holiday, it will not win. So I just went out, and it's actually really funny because if you look at my pictures you'd never be able to tell. I'm like in an outfit, I'm posing, and then after the picture's taken I'm like hands on my hip, like like heavy breathing, because I felt like I was constantly at to vomit. It was actually really bad, and I was sick all the last day right up until the flight home. Like I felt okay in the airport and I was like, I'm ready to eat my first meal in 24 hours, ate it and was sick immediately after. Anyway, I didn't really plan on talking about vomit to you guys, so sorry about that. But yeah, that is what happened to me, so. You know what though, it says a lot about that place and that holiday, because that didn't even come in. When I came home and I was telling people about my trip, the sickness bug didn't even come into my head. I didn't think I mentioned it on a podcast. I didn't mention it to anyone because it seemed like such a small thing, because I had such a good time on the holiday, and I think that says a lot about the place. And I had the exact same thing happen to me when I went to Mykonos. Now, if you've listened before, I must have mentioned this. I obviously have. But when I went to Mykonos, right? Mykonos was a place that I had always wanted to go. Like, I was dying to go there. I still am desperate to go back. I wanted to go for my 30th, COVID happened, but I just knew I would love it there. And I went with my ex-boyfriend, and oh my god, the place was stunning. We arrived, it had the most gorgeous sunset on our first night. I remember getting ready in my towel, out on the balcony, we were having a drink together, and I was like, oh my god, this is stunning. Now, my ex-boyfriend was quite, would I say toxic? It's the relationship where I've never argued so much with a partner. We argued all the time, absolutely all the time, because he always thought I was doing something behind his back, which admittedly I did message somebody behind his back, but his behaviour was like this before I did this and after, and it was wild. It was actually wild. It was like the type of thing, you know, if I didn't answer my phone because I was in the shower or something, that would be a big issue. So anyway, we're in Mykonos, night one, he checks my phone. I wasn't even messaging somebody, but he found something he didn't like. Obviously, I hate the fact he's checking my phone as I sleep. Like, how did you even get into it, please? And we just argued for the entire time we were there until it came to a huge head on the last night, and then we broke up whilst we were on holidays. If anybody talks to me about Mykonos, I'm like, it's the best place. I had the best time there. And I'm like, hun, how could you have had the best time there when you literally spent the whole time arguing? I barely slept for the whole time I was there. It was like arguing all the time. The last night, I didn't even spend it all with him. I just went into town by myself, and I bought myself a cross necklace. I'm not even religious, but I was like, I need some sort of faith. So yeah, I love Mykonos, and I can't wait to go back. So it does say a lot about a place if you love it, regardless of having like an absolutely shit time there. But yeah, that's I think like a really nice thought, that some places are so special that you can enjoy them even if you're going through absolute hell on earth. Anyway, okay, let's go into the thought of the week. Now, this one is a bit rude, so I'm just going to pre-warn any, you know, any PG listeners, I should say. Any PG listeners, anybody that doesn't want to hear me talking about anything sexual, feel free to drop off now, because, yeah, it's a little bit rude. But I was listening to a podcast this week that was talking about different levels of sex kinks, like different levels of what people are into. And I was talking to Matt Bowery, and I was like, say there's a level like 1 to 10. 10 has got to be like shitting and peeing and being sick. Well, I would say actually peeing's probably level 9, but for me, level 10 has got to be shitting in somebody's mouth. Like, we all saw the Dubai video. How people are into it, I don't know. I'm still scarred by it. I actually can't spend too long talking about it because it will actually make me vomit. It made me dry heave for about 3 days after I saw that video. I'm not even exaggerating. So that for me is level 10. And then level 1 is obviously just like your basic sex, right? Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day that said that spitting in somebody's mouth was level 1 of sexual encounters. I was like, sorry? Am I a prude? I never thought I was, but spitting in somebody's mouth? No. Then I had a replay of a friend who said that she was into it, and I'm like, good God, this is what people are doing now out in the streets. Spitting in each other's mouths. I thought I was like a really open, sexual, no judgment person, but if somebody went to spit in my mouth, I would be fuming. For me, the first thing comes to my mind is germs, which I know makes no sense because when you're kissing somebody, you're exchanging saliva. But it's one thing to have it, you know, through touching tongues in a pleasant experience. To have a droplet of spit dangled into my mouth, that's the thing for me, right? Now, spitting on a penis or a vagina, I can get, because it's not really a spit, is it? It's like a spray. But to spit in somebody's mouth, you would have to gather the saliva and dribble it in so that it actually went into a droplet rather than spray all over their face. And I think that for me is the biggest issue, because the texture of that coming into my mouth would absolutely turn me sick. Imagine a droplet of somebody's warm saliva dropping in your mouth. It is just absolutely not for me, and I cannot believe there's people out there thinking it's nothing. Like, I don't know. It really shocked me. I can't deal with it. And then to know somebody close to home that says that they do it and they enjoy it, I was like, oh my god, this is level 1 now. Where does that leave anal? You know, if that's level 1, is anal level 2? I just don't know anymore, and it was quite a sobering thought for me. The other thing is, you would have to ask somebody before doing that, because to spit in somebody's mouth, this is why I say I wasn't spitting in somebody's face. So again, I feel like if you're spitting in somebody's face, it's more like a spray, not like a fake spit. You go, pff, pff. That's how I would do it. I'm not saying I want to be spat in the face, but I don't know. But to be spat in the mouth, there has to be some sort of exchange there, doesn't it? They have to be on top, I imagine, for it to drop down, because how else is it going to work? And they'd have to be like, I want to spit in your mouth, like open your mouth. Well, I don't know actually. Somebody on top of me telling me to open my mouth, that is actually a bit of a turn on. I'd be like, yeah, okay. Until they gathered up the spit. You know what you've got to do when you gather up spit? It's like that. You move your mouth to do it. Until they started to do that, and I'd be like, mate, you better not even think about that. I am dodging my head, like, and even if it gets into my hair, I'm gonna be fuming. It is game over. Thank you for a nice time. I'll see myself out, and you will never see me again. I'm pretty sure that's how it would go. A boyfriend asking me to do it, different type of thing. Like, if my boyfriend said, you know what, I'm actually really into spitting in somebody's mouth and we've been together a while, would I try it? Of course I would, you know. And at that point, you're sharing saliva every day. Like, we've all shared a boyfriend's toothbrush, like when we're in a pickle. It happens, I'll do it. But some sort of stranger on night 1, you best be brave if you think you can put your germ-ridden saliva in my mouth without warning. Absolutely no thank you, sir. So yeah, I guess my thought of the week was, I'm a prude, which I really never thought I was. It is nice. Nice is the wrong word. It is funny. Well, and nice, I suppose, if you look at it in a certain way. But it is funny how, like, sexual stuff evolves, isn't it? Like, I wonder what people were doing back in the 50s, you know, and what people will be doing in the future. I think the way sex is going and developing, what's going to be, like, most common in the future is multiple partners, I think. And who knows, spitting in people's, well, I don't know, I think everywhere's already been spat on, to be fair. We'll see, I suppose. Stay tuned for the evolution of Love What Luck and more sexual stories, I guess, sent in. Come and let me know yours. Do you have a secret sexual kink? Am I brave enough to do this as a poll on my Instagram? Am I brave enough for it? And I would absolutely love the answers. What I think I should do is maybe do it, but only share the answers on a podcast episode. I'm not sure if people on my Instagram are ready to see the answers, like, written. But I think I can definitely ask it. So if you've got a kink, just either DM me or wait until I put it up on a poll, and then I'll share them on next week's episode. I will do that, actually, because I think it's pretty funny and interesting. You never know, I might get some new ideas to spice up spice up my night. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I don't know, is that quite a long episode? It's usually, I think I am. I think I'm a bit longer than usual. So yeah, that's it. Please come and follow me, guys. Hit subscribe, leave me a review, come and follow me on Instagram and chat to me. I hope you all have an amazing week. Happy spring. Easter is next, so have a lush long weekend, and I'll speak to you after the break.